Hello and welcome to Recently in Counter-Strike, or RICS for short, your one-stop shop for all Counter-Strike 2 professional news. The Eagles are back. That's right. Everybody's favourite Serbian hating, FPL stomping, FaZe eliminating Kosovo bad boys are back, ladies and gentlemen. They went their separate ways. Guild picked them up. They bombed out of every tournament they played. Guild dropped them. Some of them went their separate ways. Juan Flatro and Synopsy, I believe it was, got picked up by Into the Breach, and then they got shut down because their owner was embezzling money. Scenari went to the major with the Drillers. He didn't get out of the RMR. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, everybody's favourite five-man. Oh yeah, Rigon went to Big. He was forced to play a support position when he's an entry fragger, and then they kicked him. That's quite funny. Anyway, they are back, and Austin is only a couple of months away, so FaZe are sweating. That's all I'm gonna say. Finally, we've got some sweet drama. I crave drama in the Counter-Strike professional scene, and boy, have we got a banger, man. So, Zeus, Brazilian coach, former coach of Liquid, former coach of Fluxo, former coach of SK, the original good Brazilian coach, the OG. He went on a podcast with Thorin and Maui Snake, and essentially said that he thinks that Twists is killing Liquid. He said some crazy stuff. This is a list of just a couple of things he said. There's literally more he said. You can read this. You can read this. I'm not going to go into the details. If you want to watch the podcast, which I highly recommend, even though it's Maui Snake and Thorin, what Zeus says is crazy, But he was just ragging on Russ so hard, basically saying that he's running the show at Liquid. I guess we'll hit a few. There's some points that aren't listed here, and he basically said that Zeus wanted to try and get Donk on the team, and Twist was like, no, we don't want Donk. Donk's, I don't know who this kid is. We're not getting him. And, Alege tried to come back to Liquid, and Twist vetoed that as well, because he doesn't like Alege, apparently. So, I don't know. But Twist sort of answered a little bit. The CEO of Liquid I think he's the co-CEO, he sort of got involved as well to say that not everything was true. There's definitely more that meets the eye. And Zeus also did a follow-up tweet on Twitter, which he sort of said, he sort of a little bit's taken out of context. He exaggerated a few things, and, it's all love, really. But then he deleted that tweet. He was sort of talking shit about Russ's wife, so just sort of crazy. I don't know why. I guess he even sort of admitted it in the interview. He said, I'm bitter after getting hoofed out of Liquid, so I've come on here to to troll Max, I guess. Some other roster change news is the addition of Body to 3D Max. Poor Jocko has been sidelined, and Body is in after just being benched from Fnatic. But what's really interesting is Body was IGLing on Fnatic, and obviously they were dog shit, that's pretty obvious. The fact that they made the major was truly a miracle in itself. That probably kept Fnatic alive for another couple of months. That sticker money. But Body has joined, and he's not actually going to be IGLing. As you can see here at the top, Maka's going to continue being the in-game leader. And I believe that Body will be a sort of second caller, a voice of reason, bringing a little bit of Tier 1 experience, even though he hasn't been in Tier 1 since 2018, I think, was when he got booted from G2. So I don't know how much he can really bring. On paper, is he better than Jocko? Probably, but Jocko wasn't exactly the worst player in the world. He was just probably the lowest rated. So yeah, I appreciate 3D Max. It's nice to have a national team because we don't have too many of them left nowadays. And they're making some okay runs in tournaments. Nothing quite deep, but they're proving a solid matchup. That they're testing some big teams and they're doing an okay job. So I don't see this being a terrible change, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Our first real proper S-tier tournament of 2025 has drawn to a close, and that was, of course, Katowice. And Vitality came out on top, besting Spirit in the grand final in a very, very dominant fashion, it must be said. I, along with everybody else, was hoping for an absolute banger 5-map, crazy grand final, and we unfortunately were denied that. And what's quite funny is, if you remember, Katowice 2024, Donks breakthrough, Spirit demolished FaZe in the grand final. Spirit actually got one less round than FaZe did in their grand final when Spirit stomped them. So, another Katowice, another stomp in a grand final. Some interesting notes about this one. This was ZywOo's 21st HLTV MVP, which means he is now tied for the most MVPs, along with Simple, of course. And this is a real good sign for Vitality. Obviously, they've got Rops now. I'm a massive Rops enjoyer. I think this guy is absolutely different. You put him on any team, and he will make it better. He's like Carrigan, but he's a lurker. I understand why Carrigan did not want to lose him from FaZe, because FaZe is, they're just not as good without Robs. They weren't very good before, but they are just nothing without him now. Spirit, yeah, they just couldn't really get anything going. Apex had Chopper by the balls, as you can see. Apex dropped a massive performance in the grand final, probably his highest rating ever in a grand final. Good for him. Chopper really couldn't get it done. 20 frags, and Donk top fragged by 1 kill, as you can see. Everybody else is only just behind him, and nobody had a good rating. In fact, Zontix was the highest rated with a 0.89. So that's how badly they got slammed. There was a nuts like Deagle round by Donkey, got a crazy 4K on Dust 2, like 5 rounds deep or something. Oh, here it is, round 6. And you see that and you think, oh my god, Spirit, they're warming up now. They're gonna come back. And then Mezzy like defusing the smoke, and Donk's kills were all for nothing. But yeah, let's hope we get something better next time. Where is the CSPPA when you need them? Teams write open letter to Valve about significant flaws in new ecosystem. So this is basically a letter signed by loads and loads and loads of teams. I believe it was originally drafted by NIP as an org, and then lots of teams sort of jumped on it. There's a full list somewhere down here. Yeah, pretty much all the teams on the cusp of Tier 1, because obviously Tier 1, they're not really affected by a lot of this. They're not going to be dropping down rankings. But it's mostly just teams who are trying to really get into that Tier 1 scene and be consistently invited by the Valve ranking to tournaments. I'm not going to read this entire thing because it's extremely long, but I really recommend you read it. But they're essentially just saying the way that Valve are structuring the VRS system and the way you are awarded points and prize money and the way those things work together to determine if you're going to be eligible to actually attend a Tier 1 event, they're basically just saying it's dog shit. There's some mini headings here, that Valve are backpedaling, there's no communication, and in a whole, it's just extremely confusing. And I know, for example, Complexity, they have a guy called Messio, and he's just sort of like a VRS warlord. He knows all about it. He knows how it works. And it's almost like Complexity and pretty much most of the scene are just sort of turning to him to provide them with answers. I don't know how he's such a wizard with this, but he just knows all this stuff. He was on HTV Confirmed numerous times talking about it. And they bring him on specifically because he's a specialty. He knows a lot about it. And a lot of teams, they can't afford to have their own Messioso, actually that's his name, Messioso, who's going to, sort of translate it into common sense for them. And as a result, they're making mistakes, they don't know what to do, and it's costing them these points, and they're unable to really get a foot into the Tier 1 scene with VRS. So this letter is a plea to Valve to change the rules, make the rules more clear, just do something. Because Valve have dictated that this is going to be the future. Partner leagues, it's all gone. This is here to stay. But players are just pleading, we want to understand it, Valve, because they're kind of at their mercy right now. If they don't know what's going on, they can't fix things, they can't improve things, and they won't be able to actually attend any Tier 1 events.